What if the king of rock and roll never really left the building? Imagine waking up on August 17th, 1977, to headlines announcing Elvis Presley's death. Yet behind the scenes, government agents scramble, the mob celebrates, and a private jet quietly vanishes from a Memphis hangar. Conspiracy, coincidence, or something far more calculated? Today we're diving deep into one of pop culture's most jaw-dropping mysteries. Did Elvis fake his own death to escape a Mafia hit, or did fans simply refuse to say goodbye? Stick around. By the end, you'll uncover a little-known secret even lifelong Elvis devotees overlook. But first, our journey begins in Washington, D.C. The King meets Nixon. In December 1970, a restless Elvis Presley boarded a commercial flight, alone, no entourage, and scribbled a 6-page letter to President Richard Nixon. In it, he volunteered to be a federal agent at large, claiming he could sway American youth away from drugs and anti-government brainwashing. Hours later, he strode into the Oval Office, cape collar suit and all, asking for a badge from the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs. Nixon obliged. Official paperwork stamped honorary, but believers insist the badge was far more than a novelty. They say it marked the moment Elvis slipped into the world of covert operations, gathering intel on powerful crime syndicates under the perfect cover, America's most recognizable face. But if Elvis had friends in high places, he was also making dangerous enemies. And that's where the story turns dark. The mob. A jet and $1 million double cross by 1976, Elvis's finances were bleeding. His beloved Jetstar plane, grounded, outdated, and expensive, had to go. Vernon Presley, Elvis's father and unofficial money manager, found a smooth-talking buyer named Frederick Pro. What he didn't know, Pro was a mob-connected con artist fronting for a criminal ring already under FBI surveillance. The deal drained over $1 million from the Presley estate. Summer 1977. The Bureau finalizes its case. Grand jury subpoenas loom. Then, boom, news breaks that Elvis is dead on August 16th. Skeptics pounce. Too convenient, they argue. So convenient that one rumor claims the Justice Department offered Elvis witness protection in exchange for testimony, allowing the king to trade his white jumpsuit for an anonymous new life. Was the timing a fluke, or was Elvis slipping off stage before the curtain came crashing down? One clue lies in the hushed-up autopsy that followed. An autopsy shrouded in secrecy. Official word arrived fast. Heart attack. Strangely fast, hours before the autopsy even began. When coroners finally opened their report, they found at least 8 prescription drugs in Elvis's system. Some doctors whispered polypharmacy, others called it a lethal cardiac event. No two experts agreed. To this day, Tennessee law keeps the full autopsy under lock and key because the death was ruled natural causes. Fans seized on the confusion. Why announce a heart attack early? Why seal the paperwork forever? Was there something or someone the state didn't want us to see? Detractors counter that Elvis's health was a ticking time bomb. Diabetes, glaucoma, high blood pressure, even chronic constipation that may have strained his heart at the worst possible moment. Both sides point to the same file cabinet of evidence, yet reach opposite conclusions. And then there's the matter of the body itself. The wax dummy funeral rumor. 2 days after Elvis allegedly passed, more than 1,000 mourners filed past a copper casket at Graceland. Many whispered that the man inside looked like a younger, slimmer Elvis, with a suspiciously pug-shaped nose. The National Enquirer snapped a photo that only deepened the unease. Conspiracy theorists shouted, "Wax dummy!" They note the coffin's reported 900-pound weight and claim a cooling system was concealed beneath silky lining to keep faux skin from melting in the Memphis heat. Skeptics counter with something simpler. Solid copper coffins really are that heavy, and funeral homes often use cosmetics, wigs, and photo retouching to soften a deceased icon's appearance. Yet the original negative of that infamous casket photo? destroyed in a mysterious fire. Convenient, isn't it? Even the name etched into Elvis's gravestone seemed to be winking at us. The name game. Aaron versus Aaron. Elvis's birth certificate spells his middle name Aaron with a single A. His gravestone reads Aaron, spelled with 2 A's. Believers call it a deliberate slip, a code signaling the real Elvis isn't buried here. Friends tell a different story. Elvis wanted the biblical spelling long before he died, teasing that his parents weren't great at spelling. Either way, a single extra A became a lightning rod for decades of speculation. Yet the gravestone was only the beginning. The king kept popping up far from Graceland. Sightings, alter egos, and the man called Orion. Hours after the death announcement, an airline clerk swore Elvis, using the alias John Burroughs, bought a one-way ticket to Buenos Aires. Never mind that Memphis offered no direct flights to Argentina. The story spread faster than a #1 hit. Within a year, a tourist's photo captured a shadowy figure in Graceland's pool house. Enlarged, it looked eerily like the king relaxing with a book. Turns out it was Al Strada, Elvis's security guard. But by then, a new character had stepped onto the stage. Orion. Country crooner Jimmy Ellis donned a sequined mask, sounded exactly like Elvis, and released an album titled Reborn, cover art, an Elvis lookalike rising from a coffin. Record labels didn't correct fans who thought he was Elvis. The rumor sold records by the truckload. And Orion was just the opening act. From Home Alone cameos to 24-hour hotlines. In 1991, actor Bill Bixby hosted The Elvis Files, a live TV special that promised new evidence. Phone lines jammed. The sequel, The Elvis Conspiracy, aired a year later, featuring voice experts, eyewitnesses, and dramatic reenactments that blurred fact and fiction. Supermarket tabloids printed weekly Elvis sightings in Kalamazoo Burger Kings, Mississippi gas stations, even the background of Home Alone, where a bearded extra behind Catherine O'Hara was breathlessly labelled Elvis in disguise. He was actually Chicago actor Gary Grott. Fast forward to 2016. Grainy security footage of a white-haired man tending the garden at Graceland goes viral. Fans swear it's an 81-year-old Elvis hiding in plain sight. Graceland politely clarifies, just a groundskeeper. But by then, every new clip only reignited old flames. So, with decades of rumours, doctored photos, and debunked cameos, what's the truth? The legend that wouldn't die. Here's the sober reality. Elvis's health was crumbling. His heart likely stopped on its own. Autopsy secrecy reflects Tennessee law, not a grand cover-up. Mob entanglements, while real, probably reached him as a victim, not a witness in hiding. Most sightings crumble under basic fact-checking, and Orion was marketing genius, not a reincarnation. Yet the conspiracy persists, not because the evidence is strong, but because the desire is. Millions weren't ready to let go of the first true global rock star. Keeping Elvis alive, if only in rumors, felt easier than admitting the king was mortal after all. In that sense, the legend never needed a pulse to sing on. And here's one more twist of fate. Elvis Presley, symbol of jet-black pompadours, was naturally a sandy blonde. He dyed his hair charcoal to stand out under the stage lights, a reminder that myth-making began long before August 1977. Hair dye, secret badges, copper coffins, extra vowels. Each was a brushstroke in the larger-than-life portrait he painted of himself. Maybe that's why the question, "Did Elvis really die?" refuses to fade. Because icons as bright as Presley don't simply burn out, they echo, sometimes in music, sometimes in rumour, always in memory. And as long as fans keep asking, Elvis is still in the building.